What is happening, my good people? It is a Sunday, and the past 24 hours, and including the next 24 hours, are going to be very busy for me. I know I haven't really been keeping you abreast of what's happening in the world of sports, but just a quick Saturday recap as I celebrate my first wedding anniversary. So if you could please excuse me for not following up, and I know I got a little tear here. That's what happens when I'm in the northeast chilly air, although it's a beautiful morning. But with that being said, the baseball yesterday was thrilling, to say the least. I get it, the Mets and Padres wasn't. And even with the Mets winning last night, let's see, are they going to give their fans a punch in the gut after Jacob deGrom, who pitched good and had to gut out a couple of late innings in the 5th and 6th in order for the Mets to take the lead with Pete Alonso and for them to tack on those 4 big runs in the 7th inning. Although there was a scare in the 9th, they had bases loaded at 7-3. Could you imagine if Josh Bell took Seth Lugo deep? I probably would have never watched the Mets again, but you had the Guardians in a walk-off fashion, 15th inning, the first time a playoff game has gotten to the 15th inning at no score. So the Guardians go on to play the Yankees come Tuesday. The Mariners, what a comeback there. They were down 8-1, and then they respond with 4 runs to make it 8-5, and that was the turnaround because then Seattle had some gas in the tank. They were able to get the lead late. They took a 10-9 lead there in the 9th inning, and they were able to secure the win up in Toronto. Bitter loss for the Blue Jays. No way you could slice that. And then the Phillies sweep the Cardinals. Bye-bye Yadier Molina, Albert Pujols, maybe even Adam Wainwright. Great job by Aaron Nola, even Zach Wheeler the day before. And to think, when they had a 2-0 lead going into the 9th inning on Friday, they were not to be heard from again because the Phillies scored 6, as we know. And then obviously yesterday, led by the Bryce Harper home run to start off the scoring for the Phillies. Now they will go to Atlanta to play the Braves in the division series, and we'll see what happens tonight with the Mets and Padres. I picked the Mets to win in 3. I'm keeping my fingers crossed, holding my breath at the same time. College football yesterday, Alabama had a scare, so you wonder if they're going to go from number 1 back down to number 2 with Georgia winning. It probably will be close. I wouldn't be surprised if Georgia now takes the number 1 seed in the country, or number 1 ranking, I should say. And Oklahoma, Red River Shootout, boy, they came up very small, to the point where small in a big fat giant 0, how the Sooners have just plummeted down pretty much as fast as you possibly can over the last few weeks. And there weren't some other major upsets, some close games. Off the top of my head, I think UCLA did beat Utah. So for Chip Kelly and company, they're going to move up the rankings. So that was a big win for them. And then lastly, I want to talk about Draymond Green. I talked about it on the podcast on Thursday. But with this video surfacing from TMZ, and I know the league they can't be happy about having this released. And who knows if there was somebody in the underground or somebody that there was a connection with the team that they were able to secure this video, TMZ, and not knowing what the whole story was, in a sense where, okay, we knew that Draymond Green punched Jordan Poole, but we saw Poole snuff or mush Draymond Green, and then Draymond just came with a right cross. Thankfully, Poole was okay. It didn't seem as if his jaw is broken or any severe injury to his face, but Draymond Green's got to be better than that. I understand he still has that chip on his shoulder, the second-round pick, everything that we've seen Draymond Green go through throughout the course of his career. But for him to, again, be one of the elder statesmen of the team, the wily veteran, the guy who is a presence in that locker room, and I get it. If you're going to get stuff like that, your first reaction is to go ahead and get on the offensive. But you know what? You got to remain at least cool. You want to get in his face. You want to maybe even grab him to say, son, what are you doing? But for him to do that, and I get it, he took a few days away from the team. Hopefully he regroups, gets it together. But, man, that was a bad look, and he should know better. I don't care if you have a fuse this small or your attitude gets set off at the drop of a dime. And I understand I'm not in that scenario, so I don't know. But you would think, even in the heat of competition, the heat of battle, that you could go up to him nose to nose and say, son, you better watch it or I am going to knock you out or whatever it is. But I understand. That's not me. He reacted that way, and obviously he's going to have to apologize, which he did. But as far as to regain trust with his teammates, the organization, etc., that's something that he's going to have to go through. So I have a lot more. The new podcast comes tomorrow. I'm going to cover a lot of this stuff, including the NHL, where the season has begun with Nashville and San Jose. But the season in earnest begins on Tuesday night. I'll get into my over-under point totals. I'll pick some of those. Obviously, Game 3 tonight. We'll see how that goes for the Mets. All the NFL, how could you forget? NFL Week 5 today, and whatever else that's happening in the world of sports, you know I got you covered. So always coming correct, directed, and full effect on everything that's happening in the world of sports. Please subscribe. I greatly appreciate it. Also on Apple and Spotify for the podcast. More content to come in the days and weeks to come. And as always, people, until next time, on the flip, baby.